Hello everyone and welcome to Sips and Stories. My name is Elizabeth and in today's video I will finally be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. That's right, I've cheated a little bit on Booktube and I've already posted a couple videos just to test out the waters. But I thought before I create all this new content this year, I definitely had to do the Booktube Newbie Tag just so you can learn a little more about me as a reader. So grab your favorite beverage and join me as we discuss me with the Booktube Newbie Tag. Question number one is, why did you start this channel? So I've wanted to start a booktube channel for the longest time. In fact, for the last year, I've been kind of practicing in front of the mirror. I know that's such a geeky thing to say, but it's true. But I think with the pandemic, that has just given me and a lot of other new creators the opportunity to start their own channels. And I'm really excited to join this community because I absolutely adore Booktube. I've probably been watching Booktube for probably the past 5 years or so. And it's really just enriched my reading life. I've gotten so many great recommendations for all of you, and I've discovered so many new genres that I didn't even know existed in the past. So this is really a huge part of my personal reading life, and I cannot wait to be a part of the community. Question number two are, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? So I consider myself like the Kathleen Kelly You Got Mail person on Booktube. And I know a lot of Booktubers are like, that's all of us. We all love that movie. But I genuinely am trying to start my own children's bookstore right now. That is my ambition the next couple of years as we transition out of the pandemic, is to start my own children's bookstore. So my knowledge of classics and children's literature, I would say, is pretty good, especially as an English major, especially as a former teacher. So if you're getting teacher vibes from me, you would sort of be correct. I'm no longer in the classroom, but I absolutely love children's books. And I think it's a very small niche on Booktube, but I'm happy to be a part of that little community, the classics children's literature community here on Booktube. Question number three is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? So as I said before, I really think it's connecting with all of you. I've been watching so many booktubers for years now, and it's really fun to have my own channel, have my own platform, so that I can finally hit that subscribe button and subscribe to all of you and start commenting on your videos and joining the discussion. I'm also excited about connecting with newer booktubers like myself and just kind of helping each other grow a little bit and kind of learn the ropes of Booktube. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for someone to say to me, "Thanks, Elizabeth, for that recommendation. That sounds like a terrific book." I would just be like, "Oh, thank you. I feel so good that someone liked my recommendation." So I cannot wait to become a part of this community. Question number four is, why do you love reading? And that is such a loaded question. It's like asking somebody, why do you love breathing? Why do you love eating, sleeping, drinking? Because that's the way I survive on this planet, is by reading every day. In fact, I get a little anxious when I can't read on certain days when I'm busy, and it's my favorite self-care routine. I just love taking the time for myself to relax and enjoy a good book and get lost in a good story. Question number five is, what book or series got you into reading? And I have a couple answers. The first would be Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery, and it really includes Anne of Green Gables, Emily of New Moon, Jane of Lantern Hill, Pat of Silverbush. Basically all of Ellen Montgomery's characters I loved as a child, and they really got me hooked on reading her books because of her excellent nature writing and her endearing characters. So to this day, Ellen Montgomery is still my favorite author, and I still read a few of her novels every year. In addition to Ellen Montgomery, I also love Nancy Drew by Carolyn Keene. I am an avid Nancy Drew collector. Not only was Nancy Drew one of my favorite series growing up, but as an adult, I still collect Nancy Drew. So I am one of those geeky people on eBay that is bidding on a certain edition of Nancy Drew. That's how much I love her. And you can probably only see a fraction of my collection behind me. That's just less than 100th% of how many Nancy Drew books I have. So I'm excited to be sharing more of my Nancy Drew collection with you on this channel. Question number 6 is, what question would you ask your favorite booktubers? And that's another good one because I subscribe to so many different types of booktubers, people that I trust for different genres, whether that's classics or literary fiction or even science fiction and fantasy. And one thing that all of my favorite booktubers have in common is they're very prolific readers and content creators. So I would ask them, how are they reading 10, 15, 20 books a month in their wrap-ups? And also how are they posting 2-3 videos a week? So what is their schedule like for filming, especially if they are going to school full-time or have a full-time job, or most importantly, they have little young children. How is this even possible with kids? Because I cannot even imagine it. Question number 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And I think for me, it's the technical side of booktube. So I have no problem talking to myself in front of the camera and creating content and rambling on about books. I do struggle though with things like lighting and audio and editing. So hopefully I can improve that in future videos. So please be patient with me. But right now that is what I'm struggling with, is just the technical side of YouTube. Question number 8 is, when did you start reading? And unlike many booktubers, I did not start really seriously reading until I was in about 3rd grade. Before that, I struggled with reading. My parents had to get me hooked on phonics and things like that. And I just remember being really frustrated as a kid because I knew that reading would open up this entire new world for me, but I just couldn't find the key to get into it. So fortunately, my 3rd grade teacher was really smart, and she realized how shy I was and that I didn't like to volunteer in front of the entire class. So she put me in one-on-one tutoring at the library. So as a former teacher myself, I would say that if your child struggles with reading, really try the one-on-one technique, because it worked for me and I've seen it work with dozens of kids as well. So the first book that we read together was The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary, and I just remember adoring this story and the tutor saying to me, "Look, Elizabeth, you finished a book. Aren't you happy? Don't you feel like you accomplished something?" And I just remember thinking, wow, I finished a whole chapter book. Now I'm going to go ahead and read every other book in this library. And the rest, as they say, was history. Question number 9 is, where do you read? And not to get too personal, but I do read in my bed. That's where I get the majority of my reading done, especially in the winter time when I just want to be cozy. In the summer, I love to read outside on the porch with the dog or on the swing outside, but I mainly read in bed. Usually at the beginning of every day, I start my day off with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and I just dive right into my current book. I try to finish 1 or 2 chapters before I get up and get dressed and start my day. And also at the end of the day, when I get home from work, I like to have dinner, chat with my family, and then get another cup of tea or a glass of wine if it's been a tough day, and read for about another hour or so before I go to bed. So I think that works for me, just starting off my day and ending my day with reading in bed. One place I cannot read is on an airplane. So my entire family laughs at me because whenever we travel, which hasn't been a problem this past year, but in years past, everyone laughs at me because I have a very difficult time reading on an airplane. And I think the reason for that is I get uncomfortable reading around other people. I can't read very well at a coffee shop either. So I know a lot of readers like to sit there at a coffee shop. That is so not me. I mean, I can if I'm killing time between work, but it's just not my favorite environment to read because I like to be isolated when I'm reading, and I like to just be completely immersed into my story and not have something distract me. So very strange, I know. Question number 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? So I did answer this a little bit in question number 2. My main genres are classics and children's literature, but I also love literary fiction, historical fiction, mysteries, cozy mysteries, and a little smattering of everything else. So I usually have about 3 books going on at once. One is usually a classic and literary fiction, so I feel like I'm staying on top of my English major degree. And another one is usually middle grade or an easier cozy fiction, and then the last one might be nonfiction, memoir, something like that. I have very eclectic taste, so it's not uncommon to see a lot of backlisted books on this channel. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of backlisted books because I always want to read the best books first. It's not that I don't think that there's another writer out there that's just as good as Jane Austen. I just would prefer to read Jane Austen first, if that makes sense. Thank you everyone for joining me for my Booktube Newbie Tag. I am so excited to finally be joining this conversation and connecting with all of you. I love watching your channels and I'm excited to be a part of this community. So thank you for joining me. I hope you stick around and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.